It is time for the very first episode of the 2021 CFMOTO UFORCE 1000 build. And so we're going to start out with something that I think should be done almost immediately, at least for my case and my goal for this machine. I'm wanting this thing to be a multi-purpose use for recreational purposes, number one, to go out on the trail with your family, to have a good time, to be able to be very trail capable, to be able to handle different terrain, and just really a good ride overall. But also we want to keep it practical and keep it where we can still use it around the farm, use it around the property, whatever the case may be. We still want to be able to utilize fully the utility side of this machine, because that's exactly what it's for. That's what it's made for. So without further ado, we are going to go with some 30-inch STI Roctanes on HD wheels. And so we're going to get those mounted up here in just a moment. And because this is one thing that really bothers me about this machine in particular, for my reasons, this because I believe that a machine, one of the major things that you can do for a ATV or a side-by-side is you need ground clearance. If you're going to use anything for recreational purposes, you really need ground clearance. So if you were buying this UFORCE 1000 for strictly to work around the farm, the ranch, if you have a work site, if you're using it for construction, anything like that around the yard, it's going to do just great. It's going to do fine. But I want to make this where you can do that and you can go out on the trails and not get high centered, not get stuck so easily. So we're going to add some ground clearance to this thing. Not too much, because we still want to be able to we still want to be able to handle very good. And so we're going to get started by simply talking about the ground clearance now. Right now the ground clearance is rated at 11 inches according to CFMOTO website and the manual. But when I put a tape measure to the bottom here to here, it is only 10, it's not even 10 1/4 inches. And I measured the rear ground clearance from the bottom of the trailer hitch receiver, and it's not even, it's just barely over 10 inches. So we're not even at 11 inches. And here's the problem. I want to show how this thing compares to the Polaris Ranger 1000 XP, as well as the Can-Am Defender. And the Can-Am Defender and the Polaris Ranger XP 1000, the top trim level comes with 27-inch tires, just like we have on these Stag tires. These are 20, let me make sure, I believe these are, yes, 27-inch tires. And the Polaris Ranger and the Can-Am Defender, they come stock at 13 inches of ground clearance. So we're going to try to get this machine on up there. Remember, this UFORCE 1000, the price difference between this and a Polaris Ranger XP 1000, you have to go way up in trim level to get a winch already installed and to get the nice rims and tire package and all that. You have to spend a few more $1,000s, and the same thing goes for the Can-Am Defender. You have to get the Can-Am Defender HD10 XT. I think that's correct, and that comes with power steering, the nice tires and rims, and a already pre-wired and mounted winch. So keep in mind, this UFORCE 1000, you can buy it and totally trick it out customize it to your taste and still save money. So we're going to lift this up, and we're going to put the front tires on first, and we're going to go ahead and adjust this preload suspension cam here. we're going to go ahead and crank it up to give it a little bit more lift. The suspension is very soft, and I don't believe that we're going to lose much of that plush ride if we go ahead and crank that up, and that's going to give us about I'm guessing about 3/4 of an inch more ground clearance just by doing that. So I'm going to hush talking. I'm going to lift this thing up, put the tires on. I'm not going to sit here and show you how to put tires on. I mean, that's pretty basic. Just take the lug nuts off after you get it jacked up with a jack. Put some jack stands there just to be safe. And we're going to torque these to, I got to check the manual what the torque spec is, but typically I'm anywhere between 65 to 75 foot-pounds of torque when I torque my lug nuts. So I'm guessing 70 foot-pounds of torque, I can't talk today, is going to be good. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll talk about our results. So here we go. Okay, so one thing I will say is going from stock tires to a bigger aftermarket tire, you always want to be careful of how much weight you're adding to each setup. So like, you know how you're always asking, man, do I need a clutch kit when I go to a bigger tire or whatnot? That's not a simple question to answer, because it all depends on what tire and wheel setup you're going with, because some aftermarket rims weigh a lot more, and not a lot more, but they're all right there around the same poundage, but it does make a difference, you know, a pound here, a pound there, it adds up. But when you go to aftermarket mud tires, that's when you start running into problems. That's not the case with Maxxis Zillas, because they don't weigh it very much, but because they're super light, but that's why we like them. But when you go to other heavier mud tires, that's when you start putting a load on your machine, and that's when your clutches, you start having problems with your belts tearing up or slipping, because you're putting a bigger load on. So with all-terrain tires, like I'm telling you, like these are 30s, you can see how much bigger they are, but these tires and rims, they're light. You know, all your stock setups are going to be pretty light. And so when I'm going to these 30s, these Roctanes and this rim, it's not much heavier. I mean, it's definitely, there's a little bit more weight to them, and you're adding a lot more rotating mass, but it's not that much heavier per tire. So I'm not adding much more of a load to the machine. So no need for a clutch kit for this UFORCE 1000. Although, you know me, I'm probably going to put one on it just to add that as a feature, because I want whoever's going to be getting this UFORCE 1000 in a few months to have the best UFORCE 1000 out there. I believe you're going to love this setup. So remember, as you're watching these episodes on the build of this UFORCE 1000, this thing could be yours. So be watching, let me know if you're interested, and in a few months we'll be ready to sell it to you and give you a great deal on an awesome ready to ride machine. So let's put this thing on. So in your toolbox or tool bag that should have came with your machine, you should have something that looks like this. So we're going to use this tool here to adjust the ride height and make this cam, this suspension cam here, twist around and line up down here on this bottom notch. That's going to put more force on the spring, which will shove the shock or put more weight down here to force the A-arms downward just a little bit, which should give us just a little bit more ground clearance and take out a little bit of body roll as well. So we're going to do that. Just put that, and it's much easier with two hands. Make sure the machine is jacked up when you do this. You do not have to remove the tire. There we go. We have it all the way up. So I'm going to do that on the other side, and while I'm at it, I'm going to grease this thing. So there's an Alamite there, grease fitting, a grease fitting there. and I'll look around for some more while I'm at it. So I'm gonna grease this thing. I'm gonna do a full service video on this as well one day, and I'll really get more detailed and show you how to grease it and how to take care of your machine. That'll be in another video. So anyways, just like the other side, I'm gonna put this here and turn it around just like that. There we go, got it all the way up. That's gonna give us just a little bit more lift, just a little bit, not much at all. Also, same thing on the rear, and I'll do that, but it's the same procedure. But anyways, let's get this other tire on and set it down. Time to let it down and move to the back. Oh yeah. Yeah, you can already see a massive difference. That looks much better up front. And once we get the back done, it's gonna be looking right and sitting right. So let's get this back done. Okay, so while I'm back here, there's a grease, an Alamite grease fitting on the upper A-arm. And then there's one here on the lower, and then on the other side, there's one there. And then on your hub, there's one up top and one right down here. So anyhow, and then also I already adjusted the preload cam to adjust the ride height up just a little bit. So now I'm about to put the tires on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is how it should look. There's the 30s sitting on the UFORCE 1000. We are now at exactly 13 inches of ground clearance up front at the lowest point. So we are now at the Ranger XP 1000 ride height with the, the best trim package that they offer. And the same goes for the Can-Am Defender. We're at about 13.5 inches at the rear lowest point back here, maybe about 13.25. But now we have good ground clearance, absolutely no rubbing issues, plenty of space, and we will definitely check that out for sure when we go riding. But I do not see any of this being a issue, so, but I will definitely let you know, because I don't want it to rub at all, and I will let you know. So man, it looks good, it looks right. I'll get some footage of it ASAP with the 30s on it. But that's just the first to this build that we're doing. And can't wait to get out and ride it and test it and show you how it performs. So that's it for this one. I've got a lot of cool things coming our way. We're going to be going with a bunch of CFMOTO genuine accessories for this machine, for this build. It's going to have a lot of LED lights everywhere. So we're going to have a big LED reverse light. We're going to have rock lights, whip lights, windshield, doors, bumpers, just a lot of cool stuff. You're going to want to keep up with this build, and I'm definitely can't wait to put up against the Ranger and the Defender, and we'll see who's the boss. So that's going to do it for this first episode on the build for the UFORCE 1000. So make sure you subscribe if you're not a subscriber. You're going to want to keep up with this. Give it a thumbs up if you like the way it looks now over stock. And we will see you in the next one, guys. God bless, and remember to keep it real.